Hey guys, thanks for checking us out again. Today's project, we are replacing a Spartan locker that we installed in the front of this TJ about a year ago. And you know what? Spartan lockers in front axles without locking hubs kinda sucks. So we are replacing it with an ARB air locker. And first things first, it's gotta come apart. So we are gonna rip it down, and then we gotta rip the ARB out of the other axle that we bought and swap some parts around, move some ring gears and some pinions and do all that fun stuff. And we even get to buy a new tool. So here we go. So to get the axles out, you gotta take the rotors off. To get the rotors off, you gotta take the calipers off. To get the calipers off, you gotta take the tires off. So that's what we did. And we busted this out in about 2.5 hours, and by we, I mean they, because I told the wife, it's your Jeep, you gotta rip it apart and I'll put it back together. So she did, and she's pretty good at this stuff too. And of course, we had our son out there, and he's turning into quite the little mechanic. So I ripped the other axle, our donor parts axle, apart already, and I took out the ARB, and everything looked good in there. And then it was time to finish just ripping the pinion off of this one just to check the bearings, and everything felt fine, but I didn't want to get it together and find a problem. So I've got it this far apart, might as well rip it the rest of the way. Then it was time to heat up the bearing. Gosh, I sat there for a while trying to figure out, I do not want the house to smell like gear oil. So I cleaned it real good with brake clean and throw it in the Blackstone. That worked out great. About 10 minutes on the Blackstone on low, that thing came up to temperature, and it slid right on there. We got the bolts lined up. That was, somebody was playing with it a little bit, but we finally got that all put together, ran down evenly, torqued back into spec. The ring gear, the pinion, everything looked really good, except for that one place somebody may have dropped it when they were installing stuff last. And we don't want to talk about that. That's no big deal. So now I'm not going to say that spinning everything made this process take a little bit longer, but yeah, had to bang it all apart, put it back together, but we got everything Loctited and lined up and ran down evenly. So then it was time to start to put it all back together. So off camera, I discovered that the line that carries air from the case down to the outside collar through the bearing cap was packed full of mud, or like an insect made a nest. I have no idea what it was, but it wasn't the whole way down it, like it had been sank in the mud or something. It was just weird. From sitting outside, something must have made a home in there. Well, that took forever to dig out, and 45 minutes at least of soaking it, digging at it, soaking it some more, spraying air, putting brake clean in it. Anyway, see, I wasn't lying. We got this thing back together. Then it was time to put it all back in the Jeep. Oh yeah, but wait, I gotta drill that hole in the top of the case. So I took the measurements off the old case and transferred them to ours, and I went to Lowe's early in the morning, so proud of myself. Got up early, went to Lowe's, bought the tap. It came with the proper size drill bit, and I started out small and worked my way up to that one. I only had to break out the Harbor Freight drill bit sharpener one time. That thing's a lifesaver. If you don't own one, go buy one. If you're doing any drilling at the house, yeah, you need it. Then it was time to break out the new toy. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs a 20-ton press, but I do. So yeah, look at that. I even built a bearing puller, because there was no way I was shelling out money for a clamshell bearing puller. Yeah, I wanted one, but I just spent all my money. So, bearing press for the win. Now, I've done this with a 12-ton press before, and it's a little sketch. I mean, everything goes together, but with a 20-ton press, it's like butter. So yeah, I like it a little bit. So why did I need to pull it all apart and put it back together? Well, when I reinstalled everything off camera, just to check it, yeah, tolerances way too far apart. I think I had like 30 thousandths wiggle. Yeah, I'm gonna need my backlash a little less than that. That would have definitely made a little clunk every time you let the clutch out in four-wheel drive. So, and it was riding really weird on the bottom of the ring. So, take it all apart, start putting some shims in places, and trying to make it work. And we finally got it. So yeah, if you couldn't tell already, you need a bunch of specialty tools, like the inch-pound torque wrench. There's something I never thought I'd actually use when I bought it, and who knew? Gears all the time for this right here, to get your pinion preload correct. Alright, let's slam this thing in here for the last time, hopefully, and check for pattern. And it was okay. It's not perfect, but it'll work. I could have probably spent another 4 hours and gotten it no better than where it is right now. So now it's time to throw it all back together. And of course it would start raining right in the middle of it all. After a brief intermission, we heard it may rain again in about an hour and a half, so we hustled. Everything got thrown back on this thing, red Loctite where that was supposed to go, brakes, rotors, wheel spacers, tie rod end. The cover went on like as it was raining, just starting to rain, so that was done already. And yeah, I let these two do it, and while you watch this hilarious show of them trying to figure out how to do some of this stuff, I'll tell you about our test drive. So after it's all back together and everything's torqued, we took it out just around the neighborhood, and it rode so much better not having to worry about that front end, that Spartan locker. And I know that's what one of those lunchbox lockers does. They just, every time there's a different wheel speed, they lock up. And ours would never release. It would bind up the steering so bad that when it finally did release, it was like this huge explosion in the front end. I cannot believe that we didn't tear stuff up running this thing for this long. So other problems, maybe. Still had that slight air leak. I mean, it is nothing, but it may be just enough that it's not allowing the locker to fully engage. Time will tell. We'll see if it works itself out. And I have to adjust one of our spindle nuts. Isn't turned out far enough. Now we have a little bit of a rub. Apparently, when you don't have a Spartan locker in the front end, you have an ARB and things are free to turn wherever they want to go. You gain another 1/4 inch of steering, I guess? I don't know. Whatever. If those are my problems, it was worthwhile doing this. So, alright. That's all we got for you today. ARB locker in a TJ. Thanks everybody for watching. Go anywhere, do anything.